Roster changes are heating up in Buffalo, and the pressure is starting to mount as the Bills prepare to make some tough decisions. The truth is, this is the time of year when front offices really earn their paycheck, because when key players are about to return from injury, it means someone else has to go. The Buffalo Bills are no exception, and if you're a fringe player or someone who's been inactive lately, your seat is getting warmer by the minute. One name that's already catching attention is Brandon Codrington. After being a healthy scratch, not only in the most recent game against the Saints, but also throughout last year's playoffs, it's hard to deny he's on the bubble. When a player is consistently inactive during crucial stretches, it's usually a sign that the coaching staff is already preparing for life without him. So if the Bills need to free up a spot, Codrington might be one of the first to go. And it's not just him. Tylan Graybell is on track to come back from injured reserve, and the team is expected to make room for him sooner rather than later. That could mean someone like Chase Lunt is next in line to be waived, with the hope of sneaking him back onto the practice squad. The Bills have a bit of a luxury problem here. When you're stacked with depth at several positions, returning key players forces a bit of a roster crunch. Jamarcus Ingram is another name worth watching. He's been scratched recently while others, like Jordan Hancock, are getting game day reps. That's not a great sign for Ingram, especially as the team evaluates who's worth keeping on the active 53-man roster. Javon Solomon could be in trouble too. He's providing some help on special teams, but in terms of raw impact, he's not moving the needle. When you've got a pass rusher like Michael Hoy preparing to return, you have to ask whether you can afford to carry that many edge defenders. The math just doesn't add up. At wide receiver, things get even more interesting. Typically, the Bills roll with 5 wideouts on game day, but right now, they've got 6. That means someone in that group, maybe Tyrell Shavers, Elijah Moore, or even Curtis Samuel, might be living on borrowed time. It's unlikely they cut a big-name contributor, but when you're overloaded at a position and you're trying to bring back bodies on the defensive side of the ball, someone in that WR room could be the odd man out. Of course, injuries could sort some of this out naturally. But if the roster stays relatively healthy, choices have to be made. And it's not just about who's on the bubble. It's about who's coming back. You've got Graybell, Hoy, Ogunjobi, and Harrison all expected to rejoin the roster. Then there's kicker Tyler Bass. When he returns, it's obvious who gets cut. Matt Prater. That one's easy. The others? Not so much. It's a game of musical chairs, and the music is about to stop. And while we're talking about pressure, how about the offensive line? There's a growing concern from fans about pass protection, but if you dive into the numbers, the panic might be a little premature. Through the first 4 games of the season, Josh Allen's pressure rate is sitting at around 34%. That's only slightly above last year's number and still well within a reasonable range. The sack rate is a little higher this year, about 5.47% compared to 2.8% last year. But when you break down the individual sacks, not all of them are on the line. Against the Saints, Allen took a few hits, sure, but at least one of those sacks looked like a designed run that just didn't have a lane. Another was a coverage sack where no one got open and he held onto the ball too long. Only one really stood out as a true breakdown in protection, when O'Cyrus Torrence got beat on an inside move. So, while it's fair to say that pass protection hasn't been elite, it also hasn't fallen off a cliff. Most metrics suggest this unit is still operating within a solid standard. Then there's Taylor Rapp, and man, what a surprise this season has been for him, but not in a good way. Coming into the year, Rapp had a reputation as one of the best tackling safeties in the league. That's not hyperbole. He missed just 5 tackles across the last 2 seasons combined. This year, he's already missed 4. His current missed tackle rate is a whopping 23.5%. That's nearly 4 times his career average. Something's clearly off. It might not just be the lack of a guardian cap, though some fans have pointed out that he wasn't wearing it during the Saints game. These caps are meant to reduce concussion risk, and they look a bit strange. But for players who rely on physicality, sometimes it's more about confidence than actual protection. Still, it's hard to believe a piece of equipment is responsible for such a drop in performance. What's more likely is that Rapp still isn't 100% after the hip and back injury he suffered in last season's playoffs. That injury caused him to miss the AFC Championship game, and it wouldn't be shocking if he's still feeling the effects. You look at some of the plays from this season, and he just doesn't seem willing to stick his nose into contact the way he used to. Against Baltimore, he looked like he wanted nothing to do with Derrick Henry. And then last week against Kendry Miller, same story. Passive angles, soft contact. If he's not physically right, it explains a lot. Now, let's talk about the run game, or maybe the lack of it behind James Cook. Ray Davis and Ty Johnson have been almost non-existent this season, and it's starting to raise questions about the depth behind Buffalo's lead back. Davis, in particular, has only had 12 touches for 28 yards across 4 games. That's just not good enough. And it's not just a lack of opportunity. Even in the preseason, behind the same offensive line, he struggled to produce. He's dropped weight in the offseason, sure, but if that transformation doesn't translate to explosiveness on the field, what's the point? Meanwhile, James Cook is on pace for 370 touches. That's an enormous number, especially for a back his size, 5'11", 190 pounds. Cook is electric, no question, but it's fair to wonder if the team is relying on him a little too much. And while Ty Johnson's role hasn't changed dramatically, he's still playing around 27% of snaps, just like last year. It's Davis who's falling off the radar. Whether it's a confidence issue, a scheme fit, or just plain performance, something has to change. You cannot go through a full season with just one reliable back and expect to survive the grind. Khalil Shakir is another interesting case. Every time he touches the ball, good things seem to happen. His catch rate is elite, but it's all coming on short passes and manufactured touches. What's strange is how little he's being used as a vertical threat. As a rookie, more than 60% of his targets came beyond 10 yards downfield. This year, that number has plummeted to just 16%. He's got ball skills, and while his wingspan is small, historically small, actually, he's proven he can make plays when given the chance. The Bills could absolutely be getting more out of Shakir if they trusted him down the field. Slot fades, intermediate posts. There's room in this offense for those types of routes, and he's shown flashes that he can win there. The hope is that as the season unfolds, they'll start to diversify how they use him. Then there's the tight end conversation, specifically Dawson Knox, and what the future holds with rookie Jackson Haw emerging. Knox is playing over half the offensive snaps, and Haw is right behind him at 40%. Some might wonder if Haw's rise means Knox is expendable, especially with his big contract looming. But here's the thing, the Bills love Dawson Knox. He's a team leader, a core piece of the locker room. And there's a real chance the team restructures his deal with an extension to lessen that future cap hit. Knox might not be going anywhere. In fact, this coaching staff sees value in keeping both tight ends, especially with the way they want to use 2 tight end sets in the run game and give Dalton Kincaid more room to work as a flex option. Let's keep going because there's a lot more happening beneath the surface for this Buffalo team, especially when you look at the offensive identity and how the pieces are either clicking or in some cases still waiting to be fully activated. One of the bigger conversations right now revolves around how Ray Davis and Ty Johnson are being used or not used in this offense. It's not just a matter of touches. It's about rhythm, trust, and fit. James Cook is clearly the feature back, and rightfully so. But if you're going to survive a long season, you need more than just one guy who can carry the load. Davis has barely been on the field. 5 or fewer snaps in back-to-back games. That's not just a coincidence. That's a coaching decision. They're telling you, with their actions, how much trust they have in him right now. And to be honest, it's not entirely unfair. Davis has had chances. Between the preseason and these limited regular season touches, he hasn't looked sharp. He hasn't flashed the kind of vision, burst, or contact balance that made him stand out in college. There's just no juice right now. And while it's still early in the season, the window to prove yourself in the NFL is small, especially when the coaching staff is already trying to manage a heavy workload for their lead back. They need to know they can turn to someone else and get at least decent production. Now with Ty Johnson, it's a little different. He's basically doing what he did last season. Same percentage of snaps, similar touches, mostly being used as a pass protector or occasional checkdown option. So when people say he's been less impactful, it's not so much that his role has changed. It's that there's just not been much expansion in what he's being asked to do. And with Cook dominating the touches, there hasn't been much oxygen left for the other backs. The coaching staff clearly has a plan, but you do wonder if they're going to need to adjust it before it becomes a problem. Cook can't be a one-man show forever. Eventually, someone else in that backfield has to step up, or the offense is going to be too predictable. And speaking of weapons not being fully utilized, let's go back to Khalil Shakir for a second, because his situation is honestly one of the more puzzling ones on this roster. When he gets the ball, he makes things happen. His efficiency is undeniable. His catch rate is elite. But the team seems content to keep him locked into this role where almost all of his touches are short, controlled, manufactured plays. Screens, quick outs, flat routes. That's fine to a point, but it's starting to feel like they're leaving meat on the bone. This is a player who's shown he can track the ball downfield. He has timing, he has body control, and while his wingspan is definitely limited, which makes him a bit of an outlier among receivers, he knows how to win within those physical constraints. Back in his rookie year, the majority of his targets came on throws beyond 10 yards. This year, it's barely over 15%. That's not a fluke, that's a choice. So why is the team being so cautious with him? Is it a matter of trust? Is it scheme fit? Is it about spacing with the other receivers? Whatever the reason, it feels like Shakir could and should be used in more diverse ways. He doesn't have to be the focal point, but giving him a few more downfield looks per game would not only add another wrinkle to the offense, it might help lighten the load on guys like Stephon Diggs and Dalton Kincaid, who are already carrying a ton of responsibility in the passing game. Now let's talk about the tight ends again, because this is one of the most well-rounded rooms in the league, and it's also one of the most intriguing. Dawson Knox and Jackson Ha are both contributing in meaningful ways. They're splitting snaps, both are involved in the run game as blockers, and the coaching staff clearly values having two capable, physical tight ends who can move people off the ball. And then you've got Dalton Kincaid, who is more of a flex weapon than a traditional tight end. When all three are healthy and rolling, it gives the offense so much flexibility. You can line them up in different formations, create mismatches, disguise your intentions. It's a chessboard, and Ken Dorsey has the pieces to play a very sophisticated game, if he wants to. There's been speculation that Haas' emergence might spell the end for Knox, especially with a big contract number looming in the future. But let's not jump the gun. Knox is beloved by this coaching staff. He's a team-first guy, a leader in the locker room, and someone the Bills genuinely believe is part of the long-term vision. That's why a contract restructure feels way more likely than an outright release. This regime has shown they're willing to invest in players who buy into the culture, and Knox is one of those guys. So while Ha is rising and rightfully earning his snaps, this doesn't feel like a changing of the guard. It feels more like the evolution of a balanced tight end rotation. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. The NFL world is buzzing tonight after shocking comments from Buffalo Bills head coach Sean McDermott, who reportedly declared that a key player won't play with me anymore. The cryptic remark, made during a media session that seemed routine at first, has ignited speculation across the league and sent social media into a frenzy. Fans and analysts alike are scrambling to decipher whether this signals an impending trade, a locker room conflict, or a deeper rift within the Bills camp. McDermott, known for his stoic demeanor and disciplined approach, rarely offers such blunt statements publicly. The remark has left insiders questioning which player could have prompted such a strong reaction. While the coach did not name names, sources suggest tensions have been simmering behind the scenes for weeks, pointing to disagreements over strategy, playing time, or attitude. This has fueled rumors that Buffalo may be considering a major shakeup before the season gains momentum. League insiders are already speculating on potential outcomes. Could this be the beginning of a high-profile trade, a benching, or even a complete severance from the team? The Bills' roster has been scrutinized heavily over the past months, and any move involving a star player would send shockwaves through the AFC. Analysts are revisiting past games, looking for hints of friction on the field or subtle body language that may have gone unnoticed at the time. Social media is ablaze, with fans posting their own theories and insiders teasing updates that could confirm the rumor. Some suggest this might be related to a veteran whose recent performance has been polarizing, while others think it may involve a young talent whose rising star has collided with the coach's strict system. Either way, the drama is unmistakable, and the league is watching closely. As the Bills navigate the fallout, McDermott's comment serves as a reminder of the sometimes volatile nature of NFL locker rooms. One thing is certain. If the rumor proves true, Buffalo could be on the cusp of a major story that redefines the season before it even truly begins. Until official statements are made, fans will continue to dissect every tweet, interview, and press conference in search of clues, keeping the rumor mill spinning. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.